I'll be engaging Dr. Frederick Mushiri, who is the CEO of Pest Control Products Board, and also Eric Kimugunyi, who is the CEO of CropLife Kenya. So you want to tune into that conversation. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning. Of course, it's a dark moment for Mwangaza.
Yes.
Kawira, after her impeachment. Now, that forms a talking point for the next few days, having in mind that it was her third impeachment in under 2 years. The County Assembly of Meru impeached her. That's in sometimes early this month, and now that was upheld by the Senate. So what does that really mean to the County of Meru? The Deputy Governor is going to be in charge of that county for a bit of some time, and thereafter all the protocols is going to be followed for them to have a substantive governor until 2027. But remember just last week when the G7 launched their 2027 drive, and they said they're going to be advocating for more women's seats in elective positions. We've seen Governor Mwangaza out. But I want us to take a look at that in terms of the judicial process. Can she go to the High Court to appeal the outcome of her impeachment, which was upheld last night, and now what remains? And if the court nullifies that impeachment, what will it take for the people of Meru and the rest of the Senate, their decision? I'll be having that discussion with three gentlemen. I've got Wilson Sossion, who is former NATSEC Gen and former MP. I also have Daniel Orogo and Eric Muturi, all of them and are policy analysts and governance experts. I just want to take a look at the state of politics in Kenya. Being a Wednesday, it is a viewpoint that's coming later on at the top of the hour. Meanwhile, Regina, so Meru does not have a governor as we speak.
Do I speak like a journalist, or do I actually give my opinion as a Meru constituent, or how do I answer this? I'm quite disappointed, let me say. I'm quite disappointed that it's lights out for Governor Kawira Mwangaza. I'm looking at her legacy there, being the first female governor of Meru County on an independent ticket. She's not had time to actually come out and have projects that would serve constituents who actually went against the curve and voted for her. Did she have options? I totally think that she had options, because once bitten, twice shy. After her second impeachment, or rather failed impeachment, in my view, she would have opted for two things. If dialogue failed with the members of County Assembly, I think she would have pulled a former Governor Kivutha Kibwana move, written to the president and requested the dissolution of the Meru County and taken her chances with the constituents once again, so that, because at the end of the day, it is service to the people. But then, because of differences, especially political differences and governance issues in Meru County, constituents of Meru County are yet to receive the services of the governor's office, or rather the county government office, because any project that was mooted by the governor, now impeached, was thwarted by members of County Assembly. So the biggest losers in all this are Meru constituents. And I hope in the next 3 years and a half, now that we have the deputy governor coming in, that is if the impeached governor does not go to court to stay her impeachment, I wonder what it will mean for us as Meru constituents, and it's a sad affair, so to speak. That is entirely my opinion, and those are, options I would have looked at. But I believe there was better way to resolve the issues between the now impeached governor and her MCAs, Victor. Yeah. That's just my point of view.
I hear you. I hear you.
All right, and I'm sure you're going to be unpacking it further as we speak to your panel this morning. We have updates, including what is happening in matters health as far as Mpox is concerned, is that Africa in general, as a fact, requires at least 2 million vaccines if at all we are to arrest the issue of monkeypox. This is coming up in not too long, and Victor has already ushered us into the highlights, stories that are making headlines in the last 12 hours, and we start off at Kawira Mwangaza stands impeached as it is as Senate upheld her impeachment motion on account of 3 issues, including misconduct and gross violation. So we will be keeping tabs on that, what options she has left and what is going to be happening in Meru County now after that decision was made way in the night. So a majority of Kenyans woke up to that, and those who have been following it on KBC Channel 1, actually, you even witnessed the voting. Some were absent, some abstained from actually voting, but at the end of the day, the numbers edged out Kawira Mwangaza, the first female governor of Meru County. What is your take? Do you think it is politically instigated? Is it is an issue about patriarchal societies against change when it comes to leadership where women are concerned? Because so much has been said. You can be part of this conversation, given that Victor is going to be looking at the political state of affairs in the country, and this is a subject that is going to be coming up. Our X handle is at KBC Channel 1. Now to other stories. We're looking at the fate of 13, can we call them jailbirds? 13 convicted felons actually ran, or rather escaped to freedom, and government and security apparatus already launched a manhunt to just capture those 13. Among them is a curious case of the Kware murderer. That is Jumaisi. He is at large. Any information that may lead to his arrest and the rest of the 12 is highly appreciated. You can get in touch with various security apparatus in the country. Here is a rundown.
Initial investigations revealed that between 3 and 4 a.m. Tuesday, Collins Jumaisi, the prime suspect in the murders of at least 42 women found in the Kware area of Embakasi, managed to escape from Nairobi's Gigiri police station. Jumaisi, accompanied by 12 Eritrean detainees who were being held for illegal immigration, cut through the wire mesh at the station's basking bay and scaled the perimeter wall, all while the CCTV surveillance cameras monitored the area. The breach in security was only discovered when officers arrived to serve morning tea to the detainees, only to find the cells empty and the escapees gone.
Our preliminary investigation indicated that the escape was aided by insiders, considering that officers were deployed accordingly to guard the station.
Following the escape, Gigiri police station has since been declared a crime scene, with full investigation now underway to determine how the suspects managed to orchestrate their escape.
I have interdicted 8 officers who were on duty last night, among them the Gigiri Sub-County Police Commander, OCS, Gigiri Police Station, Duty Officer, Duty NCO, Station Cards and Report Office personnel. The matter is currently under investigation by Internal Affairs Unit, and any person found culpable will face full force of law.
As the search operation intensifies, top police officials led by Acting Inspector General of Police Gilbert Masengeli and the Director of Criminal Investigations Mohamed Amin said they will leave no stone unturned to rearrest the fugitives.
We further appeal to the members of public with any information that may lead to the rearrest of the suspect, especially the murder suspect, Collins Jumaisi Kalusha, to report to the nearest police station or through the police hotline numbers 999 or 112 or 911.
4 out of the 17 inmates who failed to escape are helping police officers with investigations. While authorities are now under intense pressure to track down the fugitives and restore the confidence in the police system, the incident raises significant concerns about the safety and management of the detainees at the station.
My colleague here, Mike Megwe, just inquires, have you ever dialed 911 and got the service, or 999 and got actually someone to respond? Food for thought. Any information is highly welcome. Now, it is a reprieve for Jimi Wanjigi as the High Court issued conservatory orders barring the Director of Public Prosecution from preferring any charges or criminally prosecuting him in respect to any firearm or accessories registered or owned by him. The directions came immediately after Chief Magistrate Court had postponed his plea taking after being informed by Wanjigi's legal team that their client's rights and constitution had been violated. And as Ruth Wamboi reports, the businessman, come politician, and his personal assistant David Kibe have been freed, or rather were freed on a personal bond of 10 million shillings each.
After spending Monday night at Kamukunji police station, businessman come politician Jimi Wanjigi and his personal assistant David Kibe appeared before Chief Magistrate Susan Shitubi on Tuesday with the ODPP fronting charges of illegal firearm possession.
To that extent, Your Honor, the charges before you are properly before you, before we get to their propriety, the substance of the charges.
However, through their legal team led by senior counsels Paul Mwite, Kalonzo Musyoka, Martha Karua, as well as lawyers Willie Zoteno, Wanjigi and Kibe applied to have their plea taking deferred, claiming there was a High Court order issued by Justice Bahati Mwamuye that has been disregarded by the DPP and the DCI.
There were orders issued by the High Court for the return of the guns confiscated from Jimi Wanjigi.
It's not proper to take a plea of this matter. And then you go down in the history books of this country as a defender of human rights.
And once there are stop orders, you cannot arrest for purported lack of license when the withdrawal of the licenses is on hold.
A stay is provided for in the criminal process. It's something we are clothed with the requisite jurisdiction and power to grant when there are compelling reasons, like what you have today, Your Honor.
But in a rejoinder, the DPP, through prosecuting counsel Juma Owiti, objected to the deferment, saying the matter at the High Court is civil in nature, whereas the issue before the lower court is criminal in nature, therefore they can run concurrently.
But luckily, Your Honor, as Chief Justice Emeritus Willie Mutunga said, there is no violation of the Constitution that has no remedy. A remedy lies, and it does not mean that if this court, in exercise of jurisdiction, limits its entertaining of the issues.
Chief Magistrate Susan Shitubi ordered Wanjigi and Kibe to surrender their passports to the court awaiting the September ruling.
Bring the passports. Bring the passports.
The development came after Judge Bahati Mwamuye stopped Wanjigi's prosecution pending the hearing and determination of the application dated 19th August 2024 of contempt of court. The judge ordered the matter be mentioned on 19th September to confirm compliance and for issuance of further orders. After a 7-hour heated argument between the defense and the prosecution on whether to charge Wanjigi or not, the court has retired to write a ruling that will be delivered on September 12th. Ruth Wamboi reporting from Milimani Law Courts.
Now, in some sad news here, the death toll in the Tuesday early morning accident involving a PSV bus and a personal car at Miga Black Sport near Salga along the Nakuru-Eldoret Highway has risen to 14. This is after one more victim died Tuesday afternoon while receiving treatment at the Nakuru Provincial General Hospital. Rift Valley Regional Police Commander Jasper Ombati confirmed that the 2 occupants in the personal car and 11 passengers in the bus belonging to Coast Bus Company died on the spot. According to the survivors, the bus driver lost control of the vehicle due to brake failure and rammed into the private vehicle.
Gari ilinokia hapo Kericho, tukakaa mpaka kitu saa 8 hapo, saa 9 hivyo kama inatengenezwa. Ndio kutoka hapo hivyo kukuja break ikanokia hapa hivi.
So ndio kufika hapa hivi gari yetu kagonga hii gari ndogo ilikuwa hapa hivi ikatana. Then mimi nikajipata tu nimetana hivi alafu nikajipata nyuma ya gari hivyo. Kuna msina tumetoka naye Kisumu, yenda ameokotwa pale kama amekufa kabisa.
The small car was carrying 5 passengers, including the driver. And of the 5 2 are the ones who succumbed. From the past, we had a total of 11 fatalities. This includes an infant also.
Oh my God. So when you look at the wreckage of that vehicle, you just imagine the people that thus God is good indeed for those who actually survived that grisly accident. Those who are recovering and receiving medical treatment, we wish you a quick recovery. And for those who are bereaved, may the souls of the departed rest in eternal peace. Now, the Migori County Government Health Department has stepped up its surveillance efforts following reports of a suspected monkeypox case in the region. The county has put more focus along the Kenya-Tanzania borders of Muhuru and Esebania, even as they await laboratory results for the suspected case. According to the World Health Organization, Mpox cases in Africa are on the increase despite decreasing in other continents. Now, since January 2022 to June 2024, 99,176 cases as well as 208 deaths have been confirmed globally.
Counties bordering neighboring countries have heightened surveillance to ensure those gaining entry into Kenya are not infected with Mpox. Migori County, which recently reported one suspected case, has so far screened 1,000 people, with 100 being from Muhuru and Isebania border points.
We've been told there is a suspect somewhere, a suspected case. We are yet to confirm. Our teams are on the ground so that we can see whether we are safe.
Residents are, however, calling for more civic education on preventive measures.
Hizi kazi tunazofanya lazima ushike msalimia hata kwenye mkono nini juu siwezi jua ugonjwa unaambukiza mtu kiaje. Unaona, sasa ningeomba tu serikali tusaidie ituoneshe njia ya kujikinga na ugonjwa.
Watu wanatoka sehemu mbalimbali, wanatoka Mombasa, wanatoka Nyeri, wanatoka Busia. Kwa hiyo hii ni boda kati ya boda ambazo zinapitisha watu wengi.
In Busia County, the Malaba border point is a beehive of activity with trucks ferrying various goods. The truck drivers raising concern about their health as they interact with many people in the line of work. Despite welcoming the idea of screening and vaccination against Mpox, they are now calling on the government to ensure the exercise is seamless and does not lead to inconvenience, as witnessed at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Walituchokola sana mapua bwana. Walituchokola mapua. Mtu anachokola mpaka unasikia huko kwa nini. Mwisho ya nini unasikia kama kichwa inauma. Tena hao walikuwa wapimbi, lakini sisi ndio tulikuwa tunapima. Nasema dereva alifanya nini gani hiyo yenye alifanya iko ofisi kuua mtu, lakini walitupima mbaya sana. Walikuwa wanatupima mbaya sana bwana, wacha niwaambie.
The World Health Organization and Africa Center for Disease Control are calling on affected countries to continue mobilizing resources required to contain the situation amid concern that testing remains a significant issue in the region.
Would rather over-respond than under-respond. Would rather mobilize as much as we can and support these countries to contain the situation.
Globally, 99,176 cases and 208 deaths have been confirmed from January 2022 to June 2024. In Africa, 4,562 cases and 35 deaths have been confirmed since January 2022 through to 18th of August 2024. The Democratic Republic of Congo is the most affected with 1,888 confirmed cases and 8 deaths in 2024. Burundi has 153 confirmed cases, Nigeria 37 cases, South Africa 24 cases and 3 deaths. Kenya has so far confirmed 1 case, and according to the Ministry of Health, the patient has recovered.
I'm sure when that truck driver gives his views, he speaks to a majority of those who went through the COVID-19 testing process. It was rigorous and quite invasive, and questions have been asked when they see that samples are being collected. How are these samples actually being collected from those who suspect that they have been exposed to monkeypox or Mpox, if you like? We'll be keeping tabs on that, and looking at the situation across the African continent is that data indicates that for Africa to sufficiently and adequately respond to this particular disease, we need at least 2 million vaccines. But then the status of the stockpiles, like worldwide, who holds how many and how fast can they be deployed, currently remains unclear. We'll be keeping tabs on that particular development. Now, President William Ruto says without peace, security and the rule of law, other rights in the Constitution, like the freedom of expression, will be undermined. In a meeting with regional, county and deputy county commissioners at the Kenya School of Government, Lower Kabete, in Nairobi County, the president directed the national government administration officers in coordination with other security agencies to ensure the rule of law is adhered to so as to weed out terrorists and bandits who have led to loss of life and property. Here is Abdi Aziz Hashim with a report.
It's the biggest team led by Dr. Abdi. Salute.
The head of state, his second in command and security chiefs met at the Kenya School of Government in Lower Kabete, Nairobi County.
And support all agencies on the ground to identify the people who are selling drugs to our young people, the people who are recruiting terrorists, the people who are recruiting bandits.
President William Ruto urging the national government administration officers to make it their business, aside from ascertaining security, to support and aid in the implementation of key government projects and programs currently underway.
Without causing friction with others, you should go out of your way to support government initiatives and programs and projects
to make sure that the projects the president has launched are going on. And if they don't, you have a duty to file a report to that effect on behalf of the president.
The regional, county and deputy county commissioners were urged to continue in ensuring the supply of subsidized fertilizers to the farmers continues and take action against those who attempt to halt the exercise.
That fertilizer supply across Kenya is available. You people must take time, make it your business to find out at the depot near you what is the situation.
In preparation of the fertilizer subsidy program was done by these officers in 2 weeks at a cost of less than 300 million, and a consultant had quoted to the Ministry of Agriculture to do the similar exercise at 12 billion shillings for a period of 4 years.
The head of state further stated that the peace and stability assured by the security apparatus has allowed Kenyans the opportunity to express their views as envisaged in the Constitution, thus the need to adhere to the rule of law.
And you find some of our national government administration officials, in a situation that you can clearly know that they have, unfortunately, they are victims of substance abuse.
Please, you know what you need to do. You don't drink within your duty station, because wananchi must never see you staggering, because the government cannot stagger.
Minus stability and peace, all other rights are undermined and they become inaccessible.
But as the representative of these officers, RC Abdi has said, we still have a few policy and structural gaps that we need to fill.
Earlier, at a State House, Nairobi, the head of state presided over the handover of the end-of-term reports by the Constitutional Commissions and independent offices. He noted the government will ensure transparent recruitment of commissioners for the positions that are due to become vacant in constitutional commissions. The tenure of chairpersons and commissioners of the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, Commission for Administration of Justice, Gender and Equality Commission, and the Independent Police Oversight Authority has come to an end.
That effectively takes us to matters business, where the Commerce and Competition Commission has flagged restrictive policies that are meant to protect local agriculture players from imports as contributors to food scarcity and high prices. The Commission is also looking into the trade practices that could be disadvantaging farmers from earning maximum pay. Betty Kiptum with the details.
Agriculture is the mainstay of a majority of Africa's population. Despite this, the continent continues to suffer from food scarcity and skyrocketing prices. The Commerce and Competition Commission warns that restrictive policies, which are meant to protect local producers from imports, disadvantage countries when the local production does not meet demand. Commerce and Competition Commission says such policies need to be reviewed to open up markets.
East Africa this year has had very good rains, and it's expected that the produce will be good. But because of these policies, government policies of ensuring food security for their own people, sometimes they say, hey, wait a minute, don't export. But Kenya will not export today to Zambia, which is in a drought. Tomorrow it will be Zambia with rain, and Zambia will not export to Kenya. And what I'm saying are facts. 2 years ago there was a bumper harvest here because there were good rains, but we couldn't export. This country could not export easily without impediments due to certain policies to Kenya.
Additionally, the Commission is investigating the possibility of agriculture value chain traders engaging in practices that disadvantage both farmers and consumers.
They know the farmer does not have proper storage facilities, proper transport facilities, so immediately after the produce, they will know the farmer will not wait for another 3-4 months because his produce will go to waste. So they will go there, create a desperate situation, the farmer sells at a small price, a low price. Then wait for the crop to get out of season. They have stored it properly, and then they will take advantage of the out of produce period and skyrocket their prices. So they are doing 2 things: frustrating the price, which perpetuates poverty for the farmer, but also price gouging, which affects the welfare of the consumer.
Dr. Mwemba is positive that through collaboration, the agriculture sector will open up and farmers will access the massive market in Africa.
Africa has the most arable land compared to other continents in the world. Despite this, food scarcity remains a major challenge. At times, there are countries that are facing drought, others have bumper harvest, but restrictive policies prevent produce from getting to these other countries. Competition authorities, such as the CCC, are encouraging governments to relook their policies to open up markets. Reporting from Livingstone in Zambia, I'm Betty Kiptum.
Now, the Ministry of Tourism is working closely with influencers with international clout to enhance the visibility of Kenya's diverse tourism portfolio. Tourism and Wildlife Cabinet Secretary Rebecca Miano says leveraging on the influencers' reach and appeal to showcase Kenya's diverse attractions and attract visitors is a strategic move to boost tourism numbers. Hollywood actress Nicole Murphy is in the country and will be sharing her experience on her social media platforms.
People who we can partner with, we want to showcase just what we have. We have very diverse offerings in Kenya. In fact, even investment tourism, relaxing tourism, agri-tourism. And as Kenya Tourist Board, I am sure that June and her team, it is part of their strategy to just take this and work with the diaspora team. And you can see what diaspora is doing, even arranging some of this. But I would want to assure everyone from the government point of view, we are here to support, here to open, we are here to cooperate and just facilitate and be an enabler of opening up our country and making it even more magical and as magical as it can ever be.
You guys have a beautiful city. You have beautiful beaches, you have the animals, you have an economy that people need to know about. So I think this visit coming here is extremely important, and I will be educating everybody back home.
To sports, the Kenya Police Bullets FC registered their first victory in the CAF Women's Champions League Sekafa zonal qualifiers after beating Rwanda's Rayon Sports FC 1-0 at the Adebe Bikila Stadium in Ethiopia. Purity Anyetu scored the lone goal for Beldin Odemba Chargers, who are making their debut at the regional tournament. Police Bullets FC and Rayon Sports FC each needed a victory to boost their chances of progressing to the semi-finals of the tournament after failing to win their opening matches of the qualifiers. Police Bullets now drew 0-0 with Yei Joint Stars of South Sudan Sunday, while Rayon Sports lost 3-2 to CBE of Ethiopia. That caps in the headlines this morning. Be sure to keep up with what is happening. And as far as the local scene is concerned, on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. It's time now to have that conversation on the political status of the country, given yesternight's stand of events where Kawira Mwangaza was impeached by Senate, or rather, and Senate upheld her impeachment there on 3 counts, including gross misconduct as well as abuse of office. We had asked your opinion on, the status of Meru County as it is with the current situation. Among you, you're already getting on X. There's one who is asking, will my opinion really change anything? Well, the fact that you have a say, this is a majority, this is a democracy, so the majority will always have their way and the minority have their say. I hand you over to Victor for that particular segment. Have a pleasant day ahead.
Thank you for joining us on Healthy Living. Stay connected to Voice of America at voanews.com. A look at your kidneys and how they impact your health. And an expert discusses chronic kidney disease and how to protect yourself. And Ivorian psychologist Noor Bakayoko shares some insights on bullying and what can be done.
It's important to avoid major events or major health crises.
How do you know if your cough is due to a serious condition? We'll have some answers. Stay well
and strive to make every day a healthy day.
This family is driving me crazy.
Why don't you just walk out of these people's lives and leave this country?
Too late for that, darling.
I will not watch you bring my father down. Umesikia?
He's helping us do all that by himself, Alice.
I'm wondering what would happen if I told my dad where you guys were hiding that Christabel girl.
Then you'll have blood on your hands.
You're not going to hurt that girl, Dad.
I want just to deal with it once and for all.
How about you change your tactics?
Why do you look like you've seen a ghost?
Kekara is missing.
If you're the kind who takes the time to help a stranger in the rain, there's a place for people like you.
I'm your key to set you free. You can come to me anytime for coffee. I think I won the prize from the very first time.
On KBC Channel 1, we are a TV station like no other. Get a taste of the best in entertainment.
Yes, indeed.
Feel the passion.
Will you promise me?
I swear that you will never lose me. I can't get married to you.
I'm sure you knew about it. That's why you're making fun of me.
Experience the drama.
Get out. Who's the man in this one?
And the laughter.
Hii wigi umevatishwa. Sisi wakati tulikuwa tunapishwa tunapewa mheshimiwa.
Move to the beat.
We are live from Broadcasting House.
And get informed on the latest happenings. KBC Channel 1.
Wow. Yeah!
We are the full package.
Oh, yes.
And Kenya's watching.
Thank you very much for joining us.
All right, welcome back to the program. It's now 9 minutes past 7 a.m. Welcome to the program. Of course, we are starting the viewpoint today. A lot is happening in the country, and I really want us to take a look at basically what is happening in the political arena and what is the state of politics and the state of the nation as we speak. A lot really happened, and I have to point out that I've received an apology from the senator, that is nominated Senator Veronica Maina. She sent a message saying that she'll not be able to make it because they left the Senate late in the night after the impeachment process of Governor Kawira Mwangaza. So she has sent her apology due to that. Of course, we understand. It was a rigorous exercise. Nonetheless, the show is on air right now, The Viewpoint. And in studio, I have 3 gentlemen, brilliant brains. Every time they're on set, it's never easy moment for me, I have to admit, on the onset. Because they are brilliant. I don't know how I'm going to handle them today. I'm talking about Eric Muturi Wanduthi, who is a governance expert and a policy analyst, as well as Daniel Orogu, who is also a governance expert and policy analyst. He also wears many hats, I will tell you, many hats. Which hats are those? Behind the scenes there, I'll introduce him very shortly. That is Wilson Sosion, who is a former NAT SecGen. He'll also tell us what is really happening in the education sector. A lot is happening, and teachers have also threatened to go on strike. Vast experience to that effect. Walimu, you'll tell us behind the scenes. Okay, so let me start by just giving you the background. So last night, the Senate generally upheld the impeachment of Governor Kawira Mwangaza, and now, as per it stands, the trial started on Monday, where up to yesterday, the impeachment of Kawira Mwangaza was now upheld following the development that came after the senators upheld the impeachment by the Meru County Assembly. 26 senators voted to uphold the first charge. That is on gross violation of the Constitution. 26 senators voted to uphold that charge, the gross violation of the Constitution and other laws. Some 14 senators abstained, while 4 voted in her favor. So on the second charge of gross misconduct, 26 senators voted in favor of her impeachment, 2 against, while 14 others abstained. And 27 senators upheld the charge of abuse of office, 1 vote against, and 14 abstained. Now, most of those who abstained are allied to the opposition parties. That is what is here. So this was Mwangaza's 3rd impeachment to reach the Senate since She was actually elected into office in August 2022. With the first one, the hearing, which was determined by the committee, the first impeachment was determined by the committee, but the second and third went to the plenary. So up to this particular point, she stands impeached. And that means the deputy governor will automatically take charge of that county for the remaining part of the term that they're supposed to serve as a team in that particular county. So I just want to take a look at that, what really happens, and other stories getting us moving in the political arena in the country. But let me start with Eric Muturi. Good to see you once again.
Good to see you, Victor.
While you are moving up and about out there, what really happened outside Kenya?
You know, Victor, first, good morning to the viewer.
Good morning.
It's been long since I interacted with the beautiful viewers. And thank you for launching me. We're in the season of launching. I must say thank you very much also for launching us on the show this morning. We woke up to some interesting news. Of course, you know, as I used to hear, as resilient as a, what did they say, as a termite or something. But I think now resilience must be accounted to the Meru MCAs. They have been very persistent. They have finally had their day. It's interesting times, interesting scenes, and I think we'll be dissecting more of that in the show. But first is to say good morning. I've really missed the viewers.
Karibu sana.
And it's good to see you, Victor. I think you're eating well. I can see the economy is treating you fairly.
I'm good in the Lord. That's what they say. Akini God. Ni God
maze.
Ni God maze. I appreciate. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you coming on the show. And Daniel as well. Karibu sana. It's been a while.
Not really.
Now that we're here.
Not really. I think some 2 weeks or so.
Exactly.
But I think that's a long time for matters that always arise in politics. They're always saying it's been a day is too long.
Yeah.
In politics, and of course that has been longer with events that have unfolded. But I think first of all is to every time we hear something also tragic happens to a country, and therefore we'd want to condole with the families of those who lost their loved ones on the tragic Maga incidents. We've reportedly lost 14 lives for those who are traveling from Kisumu to Mombasa via the ill-fated bus. So it is just to urge, slowly and slowly we are gravitating towards a season, holiday season. And I think it's important to urge caution and, for all the drivers and those who are taking part in the transport industry, that we don't need to lose lives. More has been lost in different events, and I think we just urge them to exercise some caution. But also, like you've asked, we are also waking up to, news of an impeachment. Kawira has had so many political lives and have survived different, impeachment trials. And I think this one now has finally, hit the nail, and she's home. I would be advised of the legal implications, whether she has the mandate to still proceed to the courts, or maybe to obtain orders, some restraining orders. And I think that is probably legal expert could advise whether...
But it has happened before in some other impeachment that we've seen in the past.
Yes, I mean, now if the team would want to maybe try to appeal, I don't know whether that is provided within the law. If that is, I foresee a situation where she and the legal team would want to obtain those restraining order. But, Victor, this is also happening in a number of backgrounds. One, just the other weekend when the G7 convened in Machakos. And now with this particular turn of events, I don't know whether they've been reduced now to G6 because the women governors now
We'll get,
we'll get to those particular.
We'll get more into that.
But of course, it's interesting.
You've actually opened. I still ask whether you got into my notes.
Yeah.
Because the number was G7, just come now to G6.
Yes.
Sosion, welcome to the program. We are talking about that. Nobody saw that happen because her impeachment, the second time it happened, so perhaps it was becoming so apparent that she was going to survive the third one. And here we are. The senators worked until past midnight until they had their decision.
Well, a decision has been taken by the Senate. And as per the law, it's binding. And the sad bit of it about impeachment is that once you are impeached, then you are unfit to hold any public office any further. You are not electable, even as an MC or anything, and nor occupy a public office. So it's quite an inhuman provision if those who are processing impeachment proceedings do not handle it well. I think we need to have thresholds of impeachment, because the impeachment clause, to me, I think has been abused, because it ends up dehumanizing a person who is elected by the majority. The majority of the people elect you, but a few individuals will caucus and remove you, including your own deputy who was your running mate. You see, when you put a telescope in the whole of this process of impeachment and the drama around it, it's extremely unfair to the victims. And me, I've never bought anything called impeachment in this particular manner, because the thing is, when you call out voters to come and vote, they will listen, take decisions, and if you've taken a decision, live with it for 5 years, and probably a compromise to the impeachment that is vested in either National Assembly or County Assembly should be subject to some referendum by the people, so that then the impeachment ruling of the Senate should be taken back to the people of Meru to decide whether they concur or not, because that really is not the representation of the people.
Perhaps that also represents what happens for the MPs, because also MPs have that recall clause. After 2 years, there's a threshold.
Which is almost impossible to attain.
Which is impossible to attain.
Okay. It's easier to impeach a governor than recall an MP.
See, impeachment of governors being so easy, and you are removed from flimsy politics. We saw what happened with Waititu in Kiambu. It was cooked so quickly, and it was a political charade, and he was kicked out. We saw what happened with Mike Songo here in Nairobi. He was kicked out by the state. Now we have seen what is happening with Kawira Mwangasa, an assembly of very unrelenting, crude political individuals who, and you heard the lady say, the lady say, we are prepared to impeach even 6, 7, 8 times. That means it was war and war and war, and that doesn't make things any better, because Mwangasa has followers in Meru. To me, humanly speaking, and from the labor position where I come from, and where there has to be fair administration of justice, I think that was a bit too inhuman. Very inhuman.
Your opening remarks.
Meru Assembly on the person of the governor.
Well, your opening remarks, but now let's start the conversation and open it up. Now that has happened. She's out of office. It has been there for, this is not the third time. Gentlemen, we've been treated to your own words, unrelenting MCAs who were so determined to kick out the governor. What does this really show? And this now goes to all of you. Let me start with you, Daniel. Yes.
Well, I think the drafters of the Constitution, I think in their own imagination could have, left some of these particular processes really unchecked and, place it at the hands of people who sometimes the imagination and the practice of democracy, do not really meet the threshold of expectations. And I think I was going through a document, a book written by Anne Coles on the leaderless revolution, when she is mentioning what are the cost implications of democracy, representative democracy. And she's saying why the world, and especially young people, are so disenchanted about this current state of democracy. And she notes that the tyranny that is left on the hands of those who are uneducated of the requirements of democracy becomes a threat to democracy in itself. So then I concur with what Honorable Sossion is talking about, that we left some of these particular veto powers in the hands of those who, the imagination, their practice, has not really reached to a level of maturing democracy. And therefore, people can be vilified. You can put hatred, you can put misinformation, you can disinform people and whip emotions and find out that you have taken someone, used the legal process or the legal processes that are there without not really checked, and take someone out of office. And I think that is what we've seen in the prosecution of all this matter. How many times have Kawira been in the Senate? Third or fourth time, probably. And the MCAs, I was following the proceeding, one of the MCAs that was captured on a television, and I think that was displayed, and people were seeing, they were saying, they were prepared to do this more and more. What was the reason? Probably because of flimsy reasons, political reasons, cultural reasons around Meru issues. But you see now that in itself is a threat to a representative democracy and how that should be practiced. And we find ourselves on that. So I think that is probably the situation of what is happening in Meru. And I think there was so sporadic sometimes you realize that MCAs were becoming a threat to different county chiefs.
Yes.
Sometimes until
that if
this
you don't
was,
do according to what we want.
If you don't do according to what we want,
Yes.
and you see I was seeing the publication, they were saying that they have to sometimes begin around 80,000, for their stipends and their travels. And if you do not sign into this or do not find a way of working with MCAs, then you're out of seat, either for an impeachment or some turmoil in your cause, to serve in the county government. So I think it is quite important for us, these particular events, there's always a precedence that is always set when it's unchecked. So then you'll realize that other county MCAs are watching exactly what is happening in Meru and looking at the loopholes that are provided there with the tyranny of the numbers that are unchecked, and they began holding some county government chiefs to hostage. So all these particular issues really needs to be looked at.
Yes. I ask the question to all of you. I don't know what you think, Eric.
The 2010 Constitution envisaged a situation where the Senate would be the reasonable house. It was, so to speak, like the US system where the Senate is the upper house. We anticipated that the Senate would exercise some level of sobriety, would exercise some level of caution, because in essence, you're killing someone's career, and for good. But the beauty about the English language is that it provides a collective term for legislature. Like the way you say a pride of lion, or something like that. There's actually a collective term for legislature, which I'll not mention on air because the viewers already know what that is. And I think they exercised that discretion in accordance to what the English language confers to them. And why is this so? Remember, even though the governor has come before them 2 times, and they decided, to do this once and for all, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the MCAs must be told and must be taught how to toe the line. Look at the issues that were raised, including gross violation. When you look at the word gross violation and the issues that led to the impeachment of Mwangaza, you find that the Senate tended to trivialize the Constitution in itself. Look at Mike Sonko today. He cannot run. He tried to run for Mombasa. He tried to run for Nairobi again. Look at Waitito, went to UDA nominations. People went to court. He was put in a certain Nairobi Rivers Commission. Someone went to court. The court ruled that he was unfit to hold public office.
Because of the accusations.
Because of the accusation.
Right.
But be that as it may, I also feel the Senate did a good thing inadvertently. How so? You see, if you were to take Wambora's case, Wambora was impeached, I think, 6 times by the MCAs of Meru. And he got the term, the man who has 9 lives. What saved Wambora was the fact that after impeachment, when he went to court, because now, you know, the court process is a live process. Pending determination of the matter, then the MCAs cannot intervene again, okay? So if Kawira Mwangaza were to go to court and get orders pending determination of the case and hold the decision, you know, stay the decision by the Senate, then the MCAs have no political reprieve in terms of going back to the Senate, because now they can't, they've already exhausted their right to deal with the matter at the political Senate level. So at the court level, it becomes very good for her, because then it becomes a question of law and it becomes a question of fact. And that is how Wambora was able to survive for 10 years, despite the number of times that. So the Senate, in a way, inadvertently, if Kawira can get orders from, and you know, the beauty about judiciary now, and is not to cast aspersions on them, we have created a very nice judiciary. And when you look at the gender parity, you can tell that even though G7-1 on this side, there is still some level of representation on the other side of the judiciary, whatever that means. And so if we are to uphold the issue of gender parity, the issue of progressiveness, you know, the issue of governance, I think she's in good standing.
Are you talking about the Woe effect?
No. I'm just saying, I'm alluding to the fact that, you know, in the judiciary, in the judiciary, you know, we know, you know, if it works like a duck, and you know it's sitting like a duck,
right?
It must be one.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we still have much more to talk about, because we've already set the pace on how, and the tone on how this discussion is going to be. We just want to look at it. Mike Sonko went home. We have Babaya Waititu. You know, Wambora was also here. And now, the first female governor to go home, that is Kawira Mwangaza. So,
but she's not the first to be impeached.
Yes.
Anne Waiguru was the first woman governor to be impeached. Right. And you know who washed her? Moshe Mumoja.
Let's take that. Okay, so it's a dark moment for Mwangaza. Take a break. We'll be right back shortly. Stay with us.
Mtazamaji, tumekuandalia taarifa zinazogonga vichwa vya vyombo vya habari kutoka hapa jijini Nairobi na pia mashinani.
Wanahabari zaidi ya ubora wao wako ange kukuletea habari pindi zinapochipuka kutoka pembe zote za Kenya.
Kwenye kipindi cha Tamrini, tunakuletea mazungumzo ya moja kwa moja kufafanua na kuangazia masuala yanayokuhusu wewe mtazamaji.
Kumbuka, taarifa yenye thamani daima hupokewa kwa amani.
Hivyo basi usikose kuungana nasi kila siku ya wiki.
Tukupakulie na tukutaarifu taarifa yenye mnato kwenye runinga unayoienzi. Kwenye kurunzi mashinani,
sisi DC.
I never heard the music so sweet. I repeat.
Wagwan, me brethren, big things are going. Remember, each and every Monday we have to shell down the place with nothing but the best of smooth way the vibes in your favorite station. You know these things, man.
Alafu kila Tuesday, kata simu tupo side giving you Kenyan music from the 254.
And of course, you can spice up your Wednesday by enjoying blazing hot hip-hop and R&B jams.
don't got no label. She say she want bottles.
Vibes on vibes as we go all across Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, all the way to Tanzania to give you nothing but the best on Afro Thursday. Make sure you make a date with us each and every single Friday. With me, DJ_Liza Diva.
DJ Cole and me, Wanjiko. This is Club One Extra.
Unanifanya nisikie kunyongwa. Hatija ai, mani especially ukisonga.
Alikuwa amechukua steering wheel na kiti ya mbele, yani kiti ya driver.
Ilikuwa ni kaa ya nani? Gari nani?
Ilikuwa na gari ya wewe mama Muhindi.
Mlikuwa hapo nikiwapelekea?
Hapana.
Alafu na mbona unaongea vitu ujui?
Lakini oni wewe iko pale
ne. Turaena au toka hapo bwana usiniletee.
Kwa nini iko?
Sasa huyu ukimwongelesha lugha yako anaelewa.
For your information mimi sina gari.
Very good. Kwa nini unaleta chiherere hapa? Why?
Chiherere? Footage inaonyesha vizuri wewe tu vile aliingia ndani ya gari. Akangangara. Akatoa. Akafunga. Alafu anamwambia mimi ni cherere.
Mimi ulisikia mimi ndio nimeiba hiyo kiti na nimeiba hiyo steering.
Kulingana na ule mama ambaye mlikuwa mnavunja sheria na yeye unamwekea gari.
Kumbe wewe ulikuwa na sitaki story.
Nini?
Jibu swali yangu.
All right, so the CAP is KBC, your national broadcaster, and this is Good Morning Kenya. All of us have their cups of tea. Now we are good to go. Yes, let's cheer. Cheers, gentlemen. Association and
well, what are we?
There is coffee. What are we?
This coffee. Let's enjoy the show.
Okay.
No, Association, you enjoy
this. My cup is not branded.
You came with the cup. So now that you're sipping your cup of coffee, now let's talk about this issue. Eric talked about the warrior effect. That's how I've loosely put it. But then now, let's not look at it that way. The political aspect is now taken care of. Now, what is now remaining is the rule of law. If she at all decides to go to court, the courts will have to look at the four areas, the four grounds of removal of a governor. One, gross violation of the Constitution and any other laws. Number two, where there are serious reasons to believe that the county governor has committed a crime under the national or international law. The third one, abuse of office or gross misconduct. And the last one is physical or mental incapacity. But of course, the fourth one did not appear anywhere because she was not physically incapacitated. But now the three. If that really happens, so what happens, what really remains for the governor and the county and the Senate in general?
Well, if it does happen, and I'm sure it might happen, because every Kenyan has a right to be heard in a court of law. And even if you don't apply and someone else applies on your behalf and prosecutes a matter on your behalf very well, you will get justice. So I think the option that is remaining for Kawira Mwangasa is to move to the courts and make a good application, and upon filing a competent application and prosecuting the matter very well before the court,